Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast, where today we're going over NFL Week 17. First things first, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give a follow over on Twitter, over on TikTok, over on Instagram, wherever there's social media. There is a Stats and Stacks podcast. Had both locks crushed last week. Part of it may be because there's no UFC, just all our attention is on NFL football currently and cashing some DFS lineup. So at the end of the day, that's what we're going to give advice on. Only 2 more weeks left in the regular season. A tight race in both the NFC and AFC in regards to the playoffs. Obviously, headed attention to the Buffalo Bills, and we're just going to go ahead and just kind of get this ball rolling here with the first game of the week. I have a weird Jets addiction where I keep betting them as dogs, and honestly, I think this is another one where they're live. We have the Jets as plus 7.5 point favorites against the Cleveland Browns, over under at 34.5. And the reason that over under is so low is because both these defenses are phenomenal. The Jets can be exploited a little bit in the run. And honestly, the Browns can get exploited everywhere at some points as well, honestly, and during the run as well. So at the end of the day, both these teams have just stacked defenses, backup quarterbacks, and anything can happen at any time. That's what we're looking at here. So why I understand that the Jets are 6-9, the Browns are 10-5, but aren't they virtually the same team? You have a star wide receiver with a backup quarterback, a patched up run game with Brees Hall, as well as Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt, and Dalvin Cook, and then you have just phenomenal defense. So at the end of the day, Joe Flacco, the Brown seem to be getting it more through the air, opposed through the ground game, and that's where the Jets excel. Their secondary is very, very good. So I think the Jets are live. I think their money line is live, to be honest with you. But I think 7.5. You're giving me that half point. I gotta take the points here. So the pick is gonna be the Jets. Bet is gonna be the Jets, and I'm gonna kind of leave it alone because it's not a part of the main slate. Neither is the next game. Remember, there is a Saturday game again this week. You have the Detroit Lions going up against the Cowboys. Cowboys are 6 point favorites because they're at home. Cowboys are a different team at home. I agree that the Cowboys should be favorited. I don't know about 6 points. It seems like too much. And the Lions, Jared Goff does struggle, but he's going to be in a dome here. He struggles on the road when he's outside. So you have indoor golf, and you have Cowboys at home. I think it's going to be a shootout, and that's why the over-under is at 53.5. But I think 6 is too many points to lay. I'm going to take the Lions. I think the Cowboys win the game, but I think the Lions cover the 6. I think it's going to be a field goal game. In regards to DFS, doesn't matter. Again, not a part of the main slate, but for those of you in your fantasy championships, you can start Amari Cooper in the Jets matchup. Don't be scared of that Jets defense because Flacco just stares them down, and obviously Njoku as well. That's what I'm not touching their running backs. Do you want to start Garrett Wilson? You can. I don't know if Denzel Ward is playing. He might still be on IR, honestly. Browns defense, I mean, although they're good, you don't sit your studs. You can start Garrett Wilson. And in this matchup, the Lions have been giving up points in the passing game, so do not be scared of Brandon Cooks and CD Lamb. Tony Pollard, you should be petrified. He can't score anyway. But if you drafted him, you're gonna have to play him. And they're running backs for the Lions, Gibbs and Montgomery. I like Gibbs more than Montgomery now. Since Montgomery got hurt, we did see the switch, and it is more predominantly Gibbs, especially it was just Montgomery in the red zone. Now Gibbs is there too. They just put Montgomery in when they're on like the 5 or the 10. But Amon Ra loves getting tackled on the 1 yard line. So you're going to start Amon Ra in this matchup, and you can start Monty. I think Monty finds the box here. Then you can start Dak, and if you need to stream a quarterback in the finals, I don't know. I'm probably not touching golf, honestly. I'm probably just streaming Dak. All right, next one we have the New England Patriots going up against the red hot Buffalo Bills. Bills are at home and they're 13 point favorites. We don't like to cover spreads. It's in division. The Bills win the game. 13 seems like a lot. So I'll say the Patriots cover. But I think the Bills win the game. Over under at 40.5. Yeah, I don't know. I might take the under here, to be honest with you. in regards to anyone you're starting. The Patriots are dealing with a lot of injuries right now, as are the Bills. This just the Patriots offense is terrible. I don't think we're going to see Stevenson again. He might be done for the year. We're going to see Bailey Zappi, and I think Zappi. And there's a lot of instances where Bailey Zappi throws passes where I go, "Oof, that should have been picked off." I don't know how it wasn't. He's due for one of those games. They just want an emotional come from behind win against Denver. I think they're going to come back down to earth here on the road against Buffalo, and I think Zappy's going to throw a ton of picks. I'm all over the Bills defense, and I'll pay up for them, even though they're hurt. They'll find a way to get some turnovers. Some Bailey Zappi, he tries to give it to you. I'm not messing around with Zeke. We actually have a pretty good run defense, honestly, and none of their wide receivers either. Buffalo side, Diggs is due. It's gonna happen. Josh is probably gonna score pretty big here. Patriots are okay against the run, so you can always let James cook. But I think it's going to be a receiver and Josh game again. Which one it is, you never know. It was Gabe last week, which means he's probably going to goose egg this week. No, I think he's going to go back to back. I think he'll be fine. Mm. I'll take the I take it back. I think the Bills cover, and they win. And you can do Josh and any receiver or tight end you want. It's just a matter of who you think is going to go off. I cannot tell you which one it is. They take turns. I have no idea. All right, next up, you can just play Naked Josh too if you wanted to. Next up, we have the Falcons going up against the Bears. The Bears are 3-point favorites, which would have sounded gross at the beginning of the year, but this Bears team is turning it around, and I like them here and to cover. Falcons are another dome team coming on the road outside against a red hot Chicago team. So I like Chicago quite a bit in this matchup. Over under 37.5. Two teams that like to run the ball a lot. That clock is going to be moving, so it makes me want to go towards the under, but both these teams can also explode at any point. I'll take the over 37. I think it's too low. That Bears defense is good, though. I know we're probably going to see Taylor Heineke instead of Desmond Ritter, but I'm still going to be okay playing that Bears D. In regards to DJ Moore, Justin Fields, start them all. I'm not messing around with their run game, though. Falcons side, I'm not touching Bijan with a 10-foot pole. Bears run defense has been virtually unstoppable for the last like 10 weeks. So absolutely not to Bijan, absolutely not to Tyler Algier. You pass against the Bears rush against the Bears, but their rush has been pretty good since Montez Sweat went there as well. Their defense in general, I love the Bears D here. I like Justin Fields again. I like DJ Moore, and that's probably a Cole Kmet if you want. And if anything, the Falcons, you can start their tight ends. That's about it. All right, then we are in avoiding Bijan like the plague. In regards to the next game, we have the Raiders going up against the Colts. The Colts are 3.5-point favorites. Man, this new coach has the Raiders fired up. I think I'm going to have to take the Raiders here because of the 3.5. If it was just three, I might lean Colts at home, but that half always gets me. I'm a sucker for the half point, so give me the Raiders to cover. Meanwhile, the over under at 43.5. I don't know what's wrong with my computer. It's going nuts. In regards to the 43.5, I'll go ahead and I'll take the over. It's a Colts game. Just bet the over, and it would have been winning you money all year long. I know it sounds weird because the Raiders aren't really a potent offense. Even their win against KC, they scored more on defense than they did on offense. But Josh Jacobs may be back. Devontae is going to absolutely crush this Colts secondary. He's going to go crazy. So it sounds crazy, but I don't hate Aiden O'Connell as a stream here. I don't know what his ownership's going to be like, but O'Connell, Devontae Adams stack, I'll probably have a little bit of exposure to. How do you run it back? Probably with JTT. I'm not super interested in the Colts receivers outside of Pittman. I mean, I don't know. It might be contrarian going O'Connell, Adams, and then running it back with JTT. I really don't hate it. I think Moss practiced this week, but I'm still going to ride Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if Moss is playing or not. But again, I like the Raiders here, and I love that O'Connell Adams stack. It feels gross, but I think it can pay dividends, and you're going to save a whole bunch of money there. On the other side, we have the LA Rams going up against the New York Football Giants. The Rams are 5.5-point road favorites. I want to say the Rams absolutely kill the Giants, but it feels like a trap line to me. So I'll take the Giants to cover. I'm not going to pick a side here. If anything, I'll take the Rams to win, but I think the Giants cover the 5.5 at home. And we are going to see Tyrod Taylor at QB opposed to the Tommy DeVito experience. I think that 15 minutes of fame is up. Don't get me wrong, the Giants are still a bad franchise. They have nothing there. They have nothing on offense. They have nothing on defense. So they have a backup QB. The Rams have Puka. They have Cooper Kupp. They have Kyren Williams. They should go off, but something is just telling me the Giants are going to take advantage here. So again, I'll take the Rams, but I'll bet the Giants to cover the 5.5 over under 44.5. I don't hate the over for some strange reason. I don't know where the points are coming from in New York. Darren Waller's back. Maybe it's him. Tyrod does target the tight end quite a bit. So I don't hate Darren Waller in this matchup, honestly, now that I'm looking at it. But I love Kyren Williams. I'm going to have a ton of Kyren Williams in DFS this week. I know he's pretty expensive. He's the second most expensive back on the slate at 8,300 on DK. But I think he's going to kill the Giants. The Giants defense is their run defense is not good. They're bleeding touchdowns to the running back. And Kyren Williams, it's his backfield. There's only so many backfields in the NFL, whereas strictly theirs on the goal line, in the red zone at 24/7. It's them getting 90% of the carries. And Kyren Williams is one going up against a bad rush defense. Give me Kyren Williams everywhere. Now, does it feel weird not having Cooper Kupp or Nacua in there? Yeah, but I'm forget it. I'm all in on Kyren. And I'm probably leaving the rest of the Rams alone. I think it's his game. I think it's his backfield. I think it's his time to shine. Next game, we have the Arizona Cardinals going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are 10.5 point favorites. I hate when they have to cover. They probably do here against the Cardinals, though. Yeah, they probably do. I don't know if Hollywood Brown is playing. If he is, I don't hate starting him in DFS. He's probably going to be relatively cheap. But I'll go ahead. I'll take the Eagles to cover. You never know. The over under is 48.5. I'll take the over. I think it's going to be real close at the end of the game. I think the Eagles are going to be up a ton, and the Cardinals, they don't die, they just keep coming. So I think there might be something at the end of the game where they end up covering the 48.5. I might even tease it down a little bit and actually play that, to be honest with you. But I don't like 48, that half point, as much as I love it for spreads. It's kind of scaring me with this over under. So I might tease it down to 7 or 14 points, honestly. But DFS wise, yeah, Jalen Hurts should go crazy. DeAndre Swift should really go crazy. And Swift, I mean, he's not cheap. When you look at Swift, let's see what his is. I have no idea what his percentage is going to be. It's probably going to be high, especially his price tag is at 6,500 on DK. People around like Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon hovering around there. I will take Swift all day over those guys. He's below Austin Eckler and Devon Achane. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Swift is going to be a must start. It's looking at his price, which makes me scared to play AJ Brown, makes me scared to play Devontae Smith. I think this is more of a Devontae game instead of AJ, but I know Devontae's a little banged up too, so just keep an eye out on all the injuries here. But I do like Swift quite a bit here. Cardinal side, you're going to start Trey McBride. If you want to stack it with Kyler, I understand because that Eagle secondary is terrible. I just don't know who their receivers are. Is Michael Wilson going to play? Is Marquise Brown going to play? Is it a Greg Dortweek? Like, I have no idea what's going on outside of Trey McBride. So I like McBride, and that's about it on that side, to be honest with you. Next game, we have my favorite NFC team for some strange reason this year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, still doing the damn thing. 2.5 point favorites at home. I understand. Usually you get 3 points at home, so it's interesting to see that the Saints would have been favorites if it was in New Orleans, because these two teams already played in New Orleans, and the Buccaneers won. So why they would be dogs, I have no idea. 2.5 points, I'll eat all day. Give me the Bucks. Over under at 42.5. This Saints defense has been absolutely putrid the last 5 weeks or so. Give me the over. Because the Bucks D isn't anything to write home about either. I know Olave was hurt and he played through the pain last week, and I know he got hurt again. But it sounds like he might play through it again. Just keep an eye on him. If he is going to play through the pain, I will have a decent amount of Chris Olave here. It's easy run backs. You can run it back with Rachaad White, who's on fire. You can run it back with Mike Evans, who looks like he's going to score every single week. if not multiple times in the week. You can run it back with the Forgotten Man and Chris Godwin. There's a lot of stuff you can do here. And if you can also start Raheem Shaheed if you're in a pinch and you really want to save some money here. If you want to have like a Evans and Baker stack and then run it back with Raheem Shaheed. I mean, Shaheed is only 4,600. He can burn you. He can get you 0 points. But usually, if he scores well, it's a bomb touchdown. And if Olave's banged up and they're looking more towards Shaheed's way, I don't hate the call at all. I would just probably have something on the other side, whether it's White, Evans, Godwin, Baker, all of the above, a Bucks mega stack, whatever you want to do. I like a lot of their pieces here. And I don't hate the tight ends for the Saints. You know, you want to get crazy and throw Juwan Johnson in there. I get it. Taysom Hill, I don't know how hurt he is or what's going on there. I don't know, man. The Saints are just weird. I don't really like Alvin Kamara this week, though. I'll tell you that. And it's kind of priced that way. Usually he's really, really, really high up there. He's the fourth highest. He's behind Rachaad White in price, which is interesting. 7,600 seems a little rich for Rachaad White, but I understand that the dude's been on fire. So whatever. It is what it is. All right. Next game, we are looking at the 49ers against the Commanders. 49ers are 13-point favorites, over under at 49.5. I totally get this line. The 49ers are going to be out for blood. I do like them. I just don't know if I like hanging 13 when it could potentially be Sam Darnold. I need to see what Brock Purdy's situation is with his injury. I don't think Brock Purdy's that good, but as of right now, do I think he's better than Sam Darnold for this particular system? I do. I think it makes a difference. So I'll take the 49ers to cover, but if it's Sam Darnold, I think they win, but 13 seems a little high. If it is Sam Darnold, it's CMC all day, every day. I don't care about the price, and you can't care about the price because he's 9,600. You're going to be sacrificing here, but he's basically against Commanders. He's a guaranteed touchdown. So I love CMC every week. I mean, there's no secret the dude's the best fantasy weapon in like the history of fantasy football. So go ahead and give me CMC. Ayuk, Debo, who's it going to be? Well, it's been Debo the last few weeks, so maybe Ayuk's overdue. It could be Kittle. They have so many damn weapons, you never know who it's going to be, just like we had mentioned in the Bills earlier. My guess this week would be Ayuk. It would be Ayuk. He did a whole bunch of blocking last game, and I think they're going to try to reward him and kind of target him in the red zone. So I think Ayuk is going to score this game. I think CMC is going to score this game. I like it a bit. Commander side, I don't like any of them. Definitely don't like the run game, even if you're trying to save money with Antonio Gibson. If Brian Robinson's still going to be out, hate it. I don't want to chase the what was his name, Christian Gonzalez or Christian. Oh God, what was the rookie that Christian Rodriguez or Chris Rodriguez, whatever. Rodriguez Jr. I know he's super cheap. He's like 4K. I'm still not touching him. That 49ers run defense is real. You can pass on them a little bit. So if you want to try to get tricky and try to save money with a Dotson or a McLaurin's super cheap now. He's only 5,500. If you want to use Curtis Samuel, thinking they're going to get some gadget plays at 4,400, I understand it. I'm not touching Logan Thomas. I understand if you want to use one of the cheap receivers. I just don't personally love it here. All right. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are 6.5-point favorites, justifiably so. Trevy's still hurt. Zay Jones not playing. So you're probably looking at, or Christian Kirk obviously still on IR. So you're looking at who? That's the thing. Is Calvin Ridley going to explode against the Panthers? He could, but he'll probably have the J.C. Horn treatment, which isn't easy. I think it's going to be ETN all day. I think ETN is going to be a must start here. With a hurt quarterback, limited options at receiver. I think it's going to be Ingram and ETN all day, feasting. ETN 7,200, so you're right around that James Cook, Jonathan Taylor range. I know I said I like Jonathan Taylor at the comeback on those Devontae Adams lose, but I don't hate Travis Etienne sitting right next to him. Again, 7,200 is a too crazy. It's expensive, but it's going to be worth it. He's going to get a ton of volume. And again, I love Evan Ingram more than I like Calvin Ridley this game. I think it's going to be a big Ingram game. There's only so many good tight ends now. Ingram is the third most expensive tight end now, which sounds crazy. He's above Kittle. Oof. Yeah, I didn't realize how expensive he was. But I think he's going to get hyper targeted too. I honestly might get weird and a little funky and have like a Ingram and ETN stack or something weird like that. I do think Jacksonville wins. I think they cover. The Panthers are getting better. They're getting better every week, but not good enough. On their side, you cannot run on Jacksonville. Their run defense is still really, really, really dominant. But you can pass on them. They're a little bit of a pass funnel, so you can use your if you want to go back into the Thielen, you can. If you want to go back to your Jonathan Mingo, you can try. If you really want to get a greasy theory, it is a revenge game for DJ Chark, who went off last week. Maybe they continue to try to get him involved. I don't hate it, especially at his price tag. It looks like he is 3,600. Love that play for that amount of wow, 3,600. I did not expect him to be that low. So I do like that play quite a bit, to be honest with you. Next game we have, and I like the Jacksonville to cover, and I like the over 37.5. Next game, we have the Ravens and Dolphins. They're going to be without Jalen Waddle. So there's going to be a lot of Tyreek exposure. And I think that's going to be a mistake. Give me the Ravens, 3.5, too low. Miami, I always talk about how they never beat a team with a winning record. They did last week against Dallas, went down to the wire, game winning field goal, ended up winning by like 1 point. Not easy. Ravens are not Dallas. Ravens are much better than Dallas. I hate that they're coming off a short week playing on Monday night, but they have the momentum. It's in Baltimore. They know it's going to be for the if basically if they win, they get the bye. They know what's at stake here, so they're going to bring their A game. So give me the Baltimore Ravens to win and cover. Over 47.5. I'll take the over. Both these teams can score. DFS wise, I heard Zay Flowers has a lot of ownership, which is interesting to me. But I do like him here, so I understand it. I thought I was going to be on an island. I am not. Obviously, the Dolphins, you can start Isaiah Likely. They don't have the greatest linebackers with Phillips going out. So you can start Isaiah Likely. You can start Zay Flowers. Odell seems to usually have his way with Jalen Ramsey. So if those two are matched up again, he seems to always get the better of him. So I don't know if you want to go that route. I'm not too sure. Lamar, you can also start. They seem to struggle with running quarterbacks. We see it with Josh Allen time and time again. They do not like rushing quarterbacks in Miami. Lamar is the definition of a running quarterback. So I like Lamar quite a bit. Even if you don't want to start his pieces and you want to play a naked Lamar, I understand it. And honestly, Gus Edwards is addicted to the end zone. Like he just cannot stop scoring. So if you want to put Gus Edwards in and be a little contrarian, is 5,900. I get it. I think they're going to be up in the game. I think he's probably going to score at some point. He always scores. He is a red zone back, and he's very, very, very good at being a goal line back. So I like the Ravens to cover. I like Lamar and Edwards. I kind of like Likely. I like Flowers. I like basically all the Ravens pieces but Rashad Bateman. Dolphin side, I know there's going to be a lot of Tyreek exposure. That's fine. He might still do some things. It's just he's so expensive. I don't think it's worth it. $9,300. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm off Tyreek this week. I know that could come back and bite me. But I think Tyreek is a fade here. So the pick is gonna be the Ravens, bet it's Ravens. Next up, we have the Titans and Texans. Not choosing a lot of dogs here. Here's one. I'll take the Titans to cover the 5 points. Over under at 43.5. CJ Stroud will be back. It's a Texans game, so I'll take the over. Texans usually are trailing a little and then they come back late and get the job done. So I think they're going to be trailing, and I don't think they're going to be able to come back late. I don't think Tennessee's going to be able to run out the clock. I don't know if Will Levis is playing or not, but Ryan Tannehill is a serviceable backup. He was the starter to start the season, so he's comfortable back there. He'll be perfectly fine. I like the Titans to cover. I honestly don't hate their money line, to be honest with you. I think 5 is too many points for the Texans. Again, CJ Stroud will be back. Nico Collins played last week unexpectedly, but Tank Dell's out. Um, their running game, Devin Singletary has been on fire, but the Titans don't have a terrible run D. They seem to have been getting worse, just like the Lions. Their run defense is starting to dwindle later on in the season, but it seems to be like in the second half. They're still really, really dominant the first half, and then they seem to struggle in the second. And I don't want just one half worth of Devin Singletary, so I'm off Singletary. I'm off. I guess you can't be off Nico. You probably got to be on Nico. Noah Brown is their deep threat. Tennessee seems to be getting burnt. So you can start Noah Brown and Nico. You can honestly start Stroud, and I still think the Titans win. So what's going on the Titans end? The Texans struggle a little bit against the run. Not good when you're going against Tajay Spears and Derrick Henry, that double-headed monster. I think it's going to be one of those games where Derrick Henry doesn't have a lot of yardage, but he scores multiple times. I think he's going to score here. So the pick is going to be the Titans. The bet's going to be the Titans. I like Derrick Henry. Hopkins revenge. I don't hate Hopkins, and that's it for the Titans. And again, the Texans, I like their two receivers and their quarterback, and that's it. Next game, Seahawks Steelers. Seahawks are 3.5 point favorites at home. I understand that. I agree with that. I'll take the Seahawks. Over under at 41.5. I'll take the under. I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be Seahawks domination, and they end up winning like 20-10 or something like that, 23-10, or and just kind of covering this over under. I'll take the under. Steelers are not good against a slot, so I think it's a huge JSN game. I will have a ton of JSN exposure in this matchup. Kenneth Walker, he'll be fine. You can start him if you want, but I don't like how 50-50 that backfield is. I probably don't want to. I like the receivers. I like JSN. I like DK Metcalf here. I understand if it was a locky game too. So it makes me want to start Geno. I don't hate streaming Geno in this matchup because I don't know which receiver with JSN it's going to be. Um, but I love JSN. I would stack Geno and JSN in this matchup. On the other side, I am not chasing with Pickens. He is going to have those explosion games from time to time. That is not an every week occurrence. Mason Rudolph is not the savior of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it was a one-off, and I don't see it happening again. So I'll go ahead and I will take the Seahawks to cover. I like their receivers, especially JSN and Geno. And then the Steelers side, I really don't want to touch any of it. They're hard to run on, so I don't like Najee or Jaylen Warren. I don't like anything on the Steelers side. Maybe Pat Fire. No, they had Jamal Adams. I don't like anything. I don't like anything on the Steelers side, honestly. I don't mind the Seattle defense now that I'm looking at it. All right, that takes us to the next game. Battle of the backups. We have the Chargers going up against the Broncos. Broncos are 3.5 point favorites with Jarrett Stidham under center. That seems weird. I don't like the half point. Give me the Chargers to cover. Over under at 37.5. Give me the under. I think it's going to be a really low scoring, nasty, beat 'em up, grind 'em out game. Score probably like 13-10. In favor. I'll give it to the Broncos, but again, it's 3.5. So I think the Chargers cover. In regards to fantasy, I like Javonte Williams for the Broncos. That's it. I don't like anything else. If you want to start, like, the thing is, you should be able to start Eckler, just because Broncos' run defense has not been good all year. We always think about the classic 70 bomb against Miami. They've been much better since then, but Austin Eckler seems so slow. Joshua Kelly so slow. I think it's a low scoring affair. It's Javonte Williams, and that's it. I'm off everyone else in this game. I'm off it. All right. Next game, we have the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are 7 point favorites. Initially, I felt like that was too many points, but I think they cover here and they definitely win. Over under at 44.5. The Chiefs are due for an explosion, so I'll take the over. I don't know if Jamar Chase is playing or not. If he's not, I especially like the Chiefs to cover. If he is playing, I think the Chiefs win, but may not cover the number. In regards to who to start, Sneed's a really, really good corner, man. If it's just T. Higgins out there, I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I think it'll be more of like a Boyd game, if anything. And then outside of that, at this Chiefs defense, I don't hate their D against Jake Browning. We saw the real Jake Browning in his first start. We saw the real Jake Browning his last start. When Jamar Chase is out there, you can throw quick screens to him real fast, and he will do all the work. It wasn't Jake Browning going crazy. He threw nothing but screens for like 3 games straight. Teams have caught on, and now he lost his speed, so he's in trouble. I like the Chiefs D. Kelsey and Mahomes, if you want to stack it, you can. That's the only way to stack Mahomes, unless you want to go a mega stack and add Rashee Rice in there. I do love CEH here, just because he's the last man standing. Jerick McKinnon and IR, which is call it Pacheco and concussion protocol. CEH might have a ton of work here by default. He seems a little slow, but if he's in the red zone, I mean, he's the one they're going to use. If you catch wind of Pacheco playing, I like Pacheco more. But as of right now, I don't know if he's playing with that concussion. His helmet came off and then he got hit last week. So on the if we call Sean on the side, he's not playing. I do like CEH in that sense, but as of right now, it's probably just Kelsey and Mahomes, and keep an eye on that. And the Bengals, no one. I don't like anyone. And then that takes us to the last game of the week. Monday night games are over. We have the Green Bay Packers going up against the Minnesota Vikings. I like the over in this matchup. Packers have suspended Jair Alexander after the little fiasco that he did last week. So with no Jair Alexander, I think Justin Jefferson could potentially go crazy. On the other side, Christian Watson's probably not playing. He never plays. I like Aaron Jones. He got a ton of work last week, even with AJ Dillon deciding he was going to suit up. Aaron Jones still got a ton of work. I love the Packers as 2-point dogs. I think I'm going to pick them to win and cover. 46.5, though. That's what I like most, the over. I like a Jefferson. Addison could go crazy too. I don't even know who the corner is. I'll be covering Addison. KJ Osborne, Nick Mullen seems to like him. Honestly, it sounds crazy. I hate Nick Mullen, and he's a walking turnover. But it may be his time to shine. It would be a showdown. I like all the receivers for the Vikings, especially with TJ Hawkinson out for the season. There's just going to be a ton of work to the receivers. So I like all three. I like Osborne, Jefferson, and um, Addison. Packers side, again, this is predominantly for your fantasy championships here and season long. I love Aaron Jones here. That's probably about it. It's weird because I think they win, but you can't predict if it's Dobbs, if it's Weeks, if it's Malik Heath. Like, you don't know who it's going to be. I think they just find a way to get it dirty and get it done. I like the Packers here. I like the Packers money line, but Aaron Jones is the only fantasy part I really like from that team. And that's NFL Week 17. Again, we crushed the locks last week, looking to do it again, looking to win a ton of money on DFS, just looking to make money in general, baby. Let's get it.